I've worked a lot of jobs in my life, some dirtier than others, but there's something about ranching, about working the land and raising livestock that gets under your skin. It's honest, it's challenging, and it's about as real as it gets. Now, a lot of folks think ranching is all about cattle, and don't get me wrong, cows are the backbone of many operations, but more and more ranchers are discovering the benefits of diversifying with goats. Goats can be great for land management. They eat weeds and brush that cattle won't touch, plus they offer another source of income. Sounds like a win-win, right? Well, like any job worth doing, it ain't that simple. Integrating goats into a cattle operation comes with its own unique set of challenges. Anyone who spent time around goats will tell you these critters are escape artists extraordinaire. If there's a will, there's a way, at least when it comes to goat fencing. Your standard cattle fence? Forget it. Goats will walk right through that like it's a swinging saloon door. They can squeeze through the tightest spaces, climb like furry little ninjas, and if they put their minds to it, they'll push through a weak spot like a battering ram. Nope. Dealing with goats means upgrading to serious fencing, electric or woven wire with proper grounding. You gotta think like a goat to outsmart a goat. Now, just like any living creature, goats need a steady supply of water, especially in the heat. But your average cattle trough not always gonna cut it. Goats can be picky drinkers and they tend to get dirtier than a mud wrestler in a chocolate factory. That means more frequent cleaning and fresh water, which can be a real chore. A lot of ranchers are turning to solar-powered pumps or gravity-fed systems to keep those water buckets full and the goats happy. It's an investment, sure, but so is a thirsty goat. Here's the thing about goats, they're not exactly known for their fighting skills. Compared to a cow, which can hold its own against a lot of predators, goats are basically nature's chew toys. Coyotes, wolves, even stray dogs. They all see a goat and think easy meal. That's why predator control is critical when you're running goats with cattle. We're talking guardian dogs, donkeys, llamas, whatever it takes to keep those goats safe. It's like running a 24/7 security detail, but hey, that's ranch life for you. Chapter 4. Picky eaters. Cattle, they're grazers. They'll happily munch on grass all day long. Goats, on the other hand, are browsers. They're like the culinary adventurers of the livestock world. They love shrubs, weeds, brush stuff a cow wouldn't look twice at. Now this can be great for land management, but it also means you gotta make sure your pastures have enough variety to keep those goats satisfied. If not, you're looking at supplemental feeding, which adds to your costs. It's all about finding that balance. Chapter 5. Goats high maintenance, you heard right. Let's be honest, goats require a bit more TLC than cattle. They're like those friends who always need a little something extra. Hoof trimming, parasite control, health monitoring, it's all part of the goat game. And don't even get me started on rotational grazing. You gotta be strategic about moving those goats around to avoid overgrazing and keep the land healthy. It's a lot of work, but hey, that's the price of doing business with these furry little characters. Chapter 6. Marketing Mayhem. So you've raised a healthy herd of goats. Congratulations. Now the real fun begins, selling them. Here's the thing, the market for goat products isn't always as established as it is for beef. Goat meat, dairy, fiber, it might take some extra effort to find your buyers. You might be looking at ethnic markets, specialty shops, or even direct-to-consumer sales. It's a whole different ballgame than selling cattle. But with a little ingenuity, you can find your niche. Outrow worth the challenge? So there you have it. Integrating goats into a cattle operation isn't a walk in the park. It's more like a hike up a mountain, challenging, unpredictable, and maybe a little messy at times. But just like any tough job, it can be incredibly rewarding. If you're up for the challenge, willing to adapt, and ready to put in the work, goats can be a valuable addition to your ranch. Just remember, it's all about finding what works best for you, your land, and those escape artist, water-wasting, picky-eating, high-maintenance but ultimately lovable creatures we call goats. While integrating goats into a cattle ranch can improve land health and diversify income, it requires additional infrastructure, predator control, and management adaptations to be successful.